And we are live. Welcome to another episode of Business Focus Live with me, John, where we talk about business related topics as well as news from here and around the world. If you're new to this channel, don't forget to subscribe and let's get started. And we're back. Thank you again for joining me today. So today is November 19th, 2022. So it's good to be back. I was gone for about a week or so, almost 2 weeks, eh, with me feeling not well last week. And then yesterday, which I was supposed to do a live stream, my computer decided to crash on me, so I could not do anything about it, and I was trying to find a way to get it fixed. I think it's a software issue with Windows 10, so I have to reinstall the OS here, which could take me hours or days. So let's see how that pans out. Hopefully by next live stream, everything's a-okay. But for the meantime, I decided to reuse my laptop, which I used to do or use for the live stream aspect here, and lo and behold, I'm still able to use it. So here we are today. Anyway, so to get things started, so what are the things that's been going on in the past week or so? So none more so than the first one. We're in Apple's conquest to expand its business, not just in the tech industry, selling smartphone devices and so forth, not just the platform, which is the App Store, but also conquering the TV networks in terms of offering Apple TV here. And now they're focusing on generating more revenue for their business by partnering with or advertising their content with popular sports, Major League Soccer in the United States, as it's known in Europe, football. We'll talk about that. And speaking of advertisements in streaming services, Netflix is now going to offer a tier wherein it's cheaper than the no ad subscription, so you can watch it at a cheaper rate, but with inclusive of advertisements here. I don't know if that's going to be good for the company with the decline, sort of decline of their subscription base, or has stagnated up to this point. So we'll talk about that. Next, we'll be talking about the notion of winning the jackpot on a lotto here in the Philippines, we call it, or Powerball lottery in the United States. Whether it's a few $1 million, tens of millions, 100 millions, or even $1 billion worth of winnings, is it even worth it? But the question, sad fact is, people are still willing to shell out their money, hoping one day that they could, win the big prize here. But is it even worth it? We'll talk about that. Next is we'll be talking also on hotels, in particular casino hotels, which offers entertainment, obviously gambling in particular, and they want to curb that addiction by offering face recognition here. Now, is that going to work out for their business? And obviously, that's going to hamper their bottom line. So we'll talk about that. And lastly, stay tuned for the last one as we take a look some of the new shows that's up and coming in terms of streaming services as well as upcoming films as well here. So to start off, as mentioned, Apple's plan of domination, reaching a far-reaching scope, obviously expanding their domain, not just in selling their smartphone devices and whatnot, but obviously building this ecosystem. So when you buy their phone, you can watch their content by offering Apple TV here. And in this particular article, AppleInsider.com, it mentions here that Apple is building a new ad network for live television. And obviously, if it's a very popular sport such as soccer, in this case, Major League Soccer in the United States, and if millions of people are willing to subscribe to the service and the fact it's live, obviously companies such as Apple and other advertising company can jump on the bandwagon and be able to reap the benefits. And as you can see, in many arenas, in many sporting events, whether it's soccer, football, American football, baseball, or even basketball, you can see in the arenas in itself, you can see it plastered all over the venue, the different companies that's trying to catch your attention so that you would buy their products or services here. So looking closely, Apple continues to expand its advertising network as it begins setting up framework to run its ads during Major League Soccer games here, as mentioned. As part of the advertising push, Apple is preparing to create a new advertising opportunities during next year's soccer games and related shows. That's why some of the biggest events, like in the United States, the NFL Super Bowl, companies are willing to pay premium slots in the commercials that during the games in between the break, because tens of millions, or in this case hundreds of millions of people are watching the Super Bowl event worldwide. And if it's the same with soccer, or or when it's the World Cup, hundreds of millions, billions of people are watching sporting events. And obviously for businesses, this is a lucrative endeavor that it's hard to pass up or miss on this opportunity. And as in the case here, you can see that Apple has signed a 10-year deal with MLS Games so that they will showcase the games live, and they will obviously reap the benefits by entertaining or incorporating adverts in the show here. Actually, what's interesting is the business model that's doing really well with regards to partnering with TV networks and advertisers is the National Football League, wherein not only the teams in their home arenas are selling out home games, and it's not just people attending the games that's very popular, but it's also people all around the world watching football. And as in the case in point, I think the last game that I saw was between the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and I forgot what's the other team. I think Seattle Seahawks, when they played the game internationally, in particular in Germany, and the game has been ever more popular in Europe, and they're planning on expanding more games to accommodate more fans, more revenue, obviously more games, which is not good for the players because you get injured. Typically, it's just 15 weeks of NFL season. Now it has been extended to 16 to 17 weeks here. Anyway, the subscription model, obviously what Apple is trying to leverage their popularity, obviously incorporating different types of content, movies and TV shows, which I've seen one of their films. I think Tom Hanks' film, I think it's Greyhound. It's a very compelling World War II battleship drama over the Atlantic Ocean, fighting the German U-boats in that particular film here. Anyway, it mentions here that the partnership between Apple and MLS will allow fans to watch every match without local blackouts or a TV subscription bundle here. So meaning you can watch it at your own leisures here. And obviously it stands to benefit the sports if more people are watching the games, and if they're able to invite them to watch the sports, whether it's live or at their own home or their own homes. And what's interesting is obviously Major League Soccer is not as popular as compared to the other sporting events, whether it's baseball, American football, or even basketball, or even hockey as well. So we'll see if this investment or partnership will be beneficial for both companies here. Anyway, segueing to another streaming services, which is Netflix, is now offering basic tier ads that will hopefully generate more revenue for the I would say sort of struggling Netflix, which is their subscription base has decreased slowly but surely, and has cause of concern for management, wherein what's going on here, and they're doing a lot of, I would say, reactionary actions that in terms of the password sharing, they're trying to crack down on that one. And now they're offering more tiers, but for free, or lower fee, but with ads attached to it. Now, is this going to appeal to a wider audience? I think, for me anyhow, I think at the end of the day, the main draw for the channel, or for the streaming service, I think at the end of the day, is the content itself. It's not, what they're charging for us. Actually, they could charge more, as long as the content is superior compared to the rest of the market here. So let's wait further. And what's interesting here, according to techtimes.com, that the ad tier won't work on Apple TV. So you have to find a workaround here to be able to watch your Netflix content in Apple TV here. So what they plan to do with the basics with ads tier, which was launched on October 3rd, Netflix said it would not rely on advertisement to generate revenues, but I'm thinking that they want to generate or maximize this opportunity, because they've been spending so much on a lot of content, which has been a hit or miss for some time. And I think, shelving out a lot of money on maybe so and so projects, and not focusing on what projects that they need to retain, like in the case of The Witcher, which, sad to say, could be a debacle come season 4, when Henry Cavill steps down, which is, it's a bad indication when the main star, who has been big proponent of the show, and decided to leave for, let's say, greener pastures, since he'll be reprising his role as Superman still. And for the Netflix channel, where it's trying to struggle and maintain its stranglehold as the number one preferred streaming services in the world, and yet they can't even come to a decision to how to retain the service. And obviously, for the Witcher series to succeed, the main protagonist, obviously Geralt, which is played by Henry Cavill, is the only compelling reason for me to watch the show. And if he was not present, even though they replace someone who's competent, in this case Liam Hemsworth, it's not the same level. And obviously there will be a comparison between the two actors, and obviously the more popular, more bigger A-lister actor is, playing the role. And if it's going to be replaced, it has to be similar or even better than Henry Cavill played the role here. Anyway, it mentions here that the business strategy suddenly changed after CEO Reed Hastings announced that Netflix was open to commercial. And obviously this is hurting their bottom line. That's why they're considering offering a ad supported content, so that it could generate not a significant revenue for the business, but nonetheless still an inflow of cash for the business here. And as mentioned here, before the basics ads was rolled out, streaming giant wanted binge watchers to have more affordable option. I think it's not the affordability the main issue. It's, I think, the main content, the main issue here. Because if your streaming service doesn't offer anything new to get people hooked in to binge watch your content, then what's the point of subscribing to your network? Whether it's Netflix, or even Apple TV, or even Disney Plus here, I think it's the same issues here, that I think all streaming services have reached to this point that it's getting harder to retain those loyal viewers, because if you don't offer anything interesting, consistently, then you're going to turn off many of the consumers. Now, in my case, I still watch it because I like watching older content, whether it's TV series, even movies galore. So you can watch it anywhere here. But I'm more on a minority of the population rather than the majority here. And obviously the ads, which is significantly cheaper, so it's going to cost around $7, so $3 cheaper than the basic plan. So is it a pretty significant difference, not necessarily. And I care to suggest that they should even charge more as long as they offer more value for their content. That's not only a wide catalog of content, but an exclusive a plethora of exclusive content that's only on Netflix that people are willing to show. And again, the question is, it's been a hit or miss here, which we'll be discussing what Netflix is planning on releasing later here. Anyway, continue with our discussion here. Next is, as I mentioned earlier, we were talking about how people, of all walks of life, is hooked in playing the lotto, thinking if you, even if it's slightest chance, if you're given a chance to win, you can turn your life around, which is kind of true. But if you watch my previous video, top 5 reasons you don't want to win the lotto is very evident here, because money doesn't solve everything if you don't have this attitude in terms of how to adjust to it. Because obviously, if you came from nothing and all of a sudden you get a windfall, it's a hard life to adjust, and some, to the point that it became detrimental to their lives because of the sudden change, and people behind the scenes, nefarious people, actors who have their own vested interest here. Anyway, according to the article at insiders.com, the Powerball Jackpot has just reached a record of close to $2 billion. You can see here. But still, here's people why they believe they'll win when odds are even 1 to 292 million. So that's a lot of 0.0000 here, which indicates you have a very small chance of winning the lotto here. And the allure of winning the lotto is appetizing for many people. I mean, even I have contemplated, but I've never bothered buying a ticket so that if I were to win, I don't have to work anymore for the rest of my lives. That's not the case here. And even for many people, decisions that they make based on winning the lotto, whether it's a small amount of money or a large sums of money, the common denominator, as you will notice if you look at the data, many of them have gone back to poverty in whether it's less than a year, a few years, or even a decade, because of mismanagement. Because if you're not trained on how to manage your money before you get this windfall, guess what will happen? You'll go to that same path of what you've been doing. If you have money, you tend to spend it all right away, all at the same time, and then by then, it's just a matter of time, whether it's today, next week, next month, or next year. But there will come a time wherein you will run out of your funds, and by then you'll be in debt. Worse, criminality will come to the picture, which is you want to avoid it. That's why I never advocate for for trying to win the lotto. Yes, if you want to try it once, sure, but on a daily basis, as many of us try to do, it's just wishful thinking. But that's my opinion here. Anyway, for our next topic, so again, if you notice, gambling is a major issue in our society. And what's interesting, that some of the hotel casinos that's hosting these gambling sessions or gambling activities, trying to curb the addiction by placing a camera in their venues here to stop the people from entering or playing the games. But which goes to the counterpoint of, obviously, you want them to get addicted so that they would spend more money, so that the establishment themselves, or the casino or the hotel, would generate more revenue for their businesses. And in this case, according to Inquirer.net, hotel bets on face recognition tech deal with gambling addicts. Now, I don't know how's that going to work, since their bread and butter solely relies on people getting hooked on this gambling aspects, playing mechanics. And even gaming publishers like EA and Activision is leveraging on that, even for kids, which is kind of appalling if you think about it. But for our purposes here, so is it going to be effective here? That's the main question that a lot of people are inquiring here. So it mentions here that in Melbourne, as guests arrive at Eastern Australia's Warilla Hotel, a small camera equipped with facial recognition software scanned their faces as part of a scheme to tackle problem gambling. and they're using AI technology, so you have to spend more to identify who are the gambling addicts. Won't it be a better solution just to remove the gambling aspect if you really want to remove that part? Because it's a counterproductive if you're a business trying to generate revenue. That's why you put those slot machines, casino activities, so that people would spend a lot of money. And if you wanna curtail that, well, either don't invest on more technology but remove the gambling aspect, like the ones shown here. I think that would be a better solution rather than spending more money here, which is kind of absurd if you think about it. And what's interesting here is it uses artificial intelligence mentioned to identify addicts who have asked to be barred from betting sites. Is set to be rolled out across gambling venues in the state of New South Wales sometime next year, which is kind of, I don't see the point of doing this. It's either, if you really want to curtail gambling here, then stop it from the beginning, meaning from the inception of introducing gambling on casinos and so forth here. And using technology here will only limit it, but it's going to be even more expensive for the business, which is, I don't see the point of it lasting that long, because investing on the technology, meaning you have to recoup those investments, then you want more people gambling or spending their hard-earned money, and then so that you can recoup the investment, which is kind of moot if you think about it. Anyhow, anyway, I don't know why they are implementing this. Now, what's interesting here, they mentions that the people who opt into self-exclusion programs deserve meaningful support rather than having punitive surveillance technology imposed upon them, according to Floriani of Digital Rights. Well, the point here is either you remove the gambling aspect so that people cannot spend their money needlessly here, which is kind of confusing what those businesses are trying to do here. Project to people that they do care versus trying to generate revenue for their own businesses here. So it's pretty interesting what they're trying to do here, which is kind of counterintuitive here. We'll see how this pans out for Australia in the near future here. Anyway, for our last topic here, we are looking for shows that, is it anticipated? Are they good shows, films that's going to be launched or has been launched or going to be launched in the near future here? And according to techradar.com, there are 7 new movies and TV shows that will be featured on Netflix, Prime Video, in HBO, and even more here. So let's see. So you can see in the poster, it's Enola Holmes Part 2. So I've seen the first one. It was okay. I mean, it's not top tier, but it's enjoyable enough. Is it going to be a repeat, a better one? So we'll have to wait and see. Let's see what are the other shows that's going to be shown here. So it was mentioned here, The Last of Us 2 TV show is going to have a release date. And then, let's see what's being shown here. There you go. So you have Enola Holmes, as mentioned earlier. So another one wherein Henry Cavill is playing Sherlock Holmes, the elder brother of Enola Holmes here. So I don't know. We'll see if it's a good one. So I haven't checked it out yet. Let's see what else is being shown. The Policeman. So it's an interesting premise here. That's going to be shown at in Prime Video. So if you have Amazon Prime. So this is based on the it's an adaptation of Beaton Roberts' 2012 novel of the same name. So it follows Tom Styles, policeman in 1950s Britain who begins a same-sex affair with the museum curator despite homosexuality being illegal. So there's a lot of conflict here. So we'll see if it's a good film. Will I watch it? Obviously, I don't subscribe to Amazon as of the moment. So we'll see if it's going to be popular. What else? Yeah, this is what I saw. I've seen the trailer for this one. It's a pretty nice concept of bringing back the 90s, the good old times where Blockbuster was still relevant before Netflix devoured them. Wherein the premise here is that the Blockbuster retail stores are being closed one at a time, and this was one of the remaining few that's still existing, and there's the story centers around their struggle on how to maintain sustainable here. It's a comedy. Is it going to be successful? The premise is okay, but will it get me hooked to watch the show? Maybe sometime in the future if I've got nothing else to do. But uh, the show is played. The main character is played by Randall Park, as you can see here. Then you can see here also beside her is Melissa Fufamero from Brooklyn Nine-Nine TV show. So we'll see. And then there's another show, TV from Apple TV Plus, Causeway, from Hunger Games star Jennifer Lawrence. So it's more of a drama here. So is it going to be a big hit? Who knows? We'll wait and see. What else is being shown here? Yes, I think this was an interesting one. So that's going to be shown at Roku. So the life story of Weird, the Al Yankovic story, which what was interesting is it's going to be played by none other than Daniel Radcliffe of the Harry Potter series. So I think I would check it out. Not at the top of my list, but I would watch it sometime later. Then there's also another show going to be released by Netflix. That's Inside Man. That's which already been showcased in BBC UK. So it has now reached Netflix International. So what's the story all about? So the story is based on a death row inmate embroiled in a murder mystery conspiracy involving a school teacher, journalist, a small town vicar, and so forth. So it's an interesting premise with a lot of twists and turns, I'm thinking. But we'll see here. It's pretty interesting. A lot of new contents here. But the question is, will it get the attention of the audience here or retain their subscription here or even go out to the movies as well? We'll see here. Anyway, that concludes our discussion for today. So hopefully next week we'll go back to our regular schedule on Fridays here. And if you have any questions, leave your comments down below and I'll try to get back to you. As always, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button to help continue support the channel. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. We're getting closer. Hopefully we can get it by end of the year. And for those who have continue to support the channels, thank you so much. And hopefully continue to support the channel into the future. Actually, we'll be adding more content, more interesting topics that's going to happen later in the year. Hopefully I can incorporate that in future videos, not just later this year, but sometime next year as well. And as of now, that's it for now. As always, I'll see you in the next one. Take care.